For our next grab bag contestant, he was introduced earlier, but I will give you a little hint about who is coming up next to finish off the final grab bag. He will be doing potatoes, everyone's favorite vegetable, which can be fried, roasted, and French fried and scalloped. And man, I love potatoes. So I will give you a little teaser of who is coming up. Mike, you want to hit play?
Hey everybody, welcome to my session. It's Dave from Breville Commercial, and thank you guys for joining me for my grab bag challenge. The ingredient that I got dealt was potatoes, and that's actually the ingredient that I was hoping for. And I was hoping for it because I just love cooking vegetables, and I really love cooking vegetables sous vide. So what are we going to do with them? We're going to do a lot actually. So we're going to make a potato vichyssoise. It is a chilled potato leek soup, but we're going to do a modern take on it. And we're going to infuse the soup base with porcini mushrooms. Then we're going to cook separately some charred leek and some potato to go in it as a garnish. Over the top, we're going to do some fried potato skins, and then we're going to also do a dill pickle coulis, if you will. So let's get into it, because the porcini stock has to get cooking, because that's going to cook at 90 C for 30 minutes, and we have to get that chilled down to go into the potato soup bag. So let's get going with that. So here I've got some just dried porcini mushrooms. You could use whatever mushrooms you like. You would probably have to adjust for taste, but I'm going in with some dried porcinis, and these are super, super, super aromatic. The only thing to note here would be careful. Just give them a quick glance over. I already did that before I put them in my bowl here, just to make sure there's no stems or twigs or anything like that. You know, mushrooms, they grow in a forest, so or in dirt, so you just want to make sure that everything's clean before you go in with it. I got some water here. We have specifically 230 grams of water, and that's going to go in. Now the mushrooms, as they cook sous vide, they are going to absorb some of that water. So when we strain this off, we're going to rectify this back to 230 grams with more filtered water to account for any loss. So the end result will be 230 grams, even though the mushrooms are going to absorb some. So I'm going to vacuum seal this, 90 C for 30 minutes. Let's do it. Our next move is to peel the potatoes, and we're going to save the potato skins. We're going to mix them with a little bit of oil and salt, and we're going to air fry them at about 300 degrees for about 10 minutes. You basically just want to go for golden brown. You want a potato skin chip. Okay? Potato selection is important here. You want to have potatoes of a relative uniform size. You don't want these knobby, weird things, okay? Choose something that doesn't have a lot of eyes and doesn't have a lot of bad spots on it. That's going to help us when you go to the scrap, and we're actually going to make the soup out of that. Otherwise, you'd have to just spend a whole bunch of time cleaning them. So take your time in picking out the potatoes. These are russets, and yeah, let's peel them up. And you want to clean the potatoes up as much as possible so that when we get to the soup phase, there's not really a lot of cleaning we have to do, because at that point it's going to be kind of difficult. So we're just going to clean up the potato roughly, kind of get rid of any eyes that we can. Some of these are, it looks like some of these are a little deep. It's all right. Let's not go crazy. I have a bowl of cold water here. Gonna just keep on peeling. Potatoes have been peeled. I'm gonna go into here with just about 2 grams of oil. You don't have to measure it. You really just need a little bit of oil. We're gonna go in with some fine salt. Again, you don't need to measure it. Just enough to season them. When they come out of the air fryer, we'll hit them with just a little bit of salt then as well. Just kind of using my tweezers here to keep my hands clean. Hit them with a little bit more salt. Potato chips can kind of take a lot of salt. Whoop, man overboard. All right, and so what we're gonna do here is just fish these out onto our air fryer tray. You see I didn't use very much oil. It's just enough to coat them. We're going to spread these out. You don't want to have overlap, because if you do, then you're going to end up with soft spots. And we want everything to be nice and crispy. So we're just going to take a second to make sure that there's not a lot of overlap if we can help it. When these come out of the air fryer, they're going to have sort of a really nice organic shape, and that's kind of what we're going for. With the peels, we're not looking for anything to be super perfect. It's almost better if they're rustic looking. All right, that looks like a nice even layer. We're going to get these in the air fryer 10 minutes, 300 degrees Fahrenheit, just until they're golden brown and nice and crispy. The next step in the soup is to make our potato spheres. So what I've got here is some potatoes in water, and I've got a dry bowl. After melon balling the potatoes, it's going to go into the dry bowl. I don't want to put them into water because I want the best chance at color later when we throw them in the oven when we go to plate the dish. So we are going to take this potato out. We're going to just put it on a paper towel for just a second, get some of the excess water off. Okay, now we're going to cut ourselves a flat face. Okay, and this can go right back into the water. That's going to be part of the potato soup. We're going to use all of our potato scrap for the soup base. So I've got a 3/4 inch melon baller here, and I'm just going to make myself a potato sphere. Okay, and now this is going to go into my dry bowl. And again, the reason for that is I just want to have the best chance at color later. Potato scraps going to go in the water, not quite deep enough. Depending on how big the face of your potato is, or the width of the potato, you might be able to get 2 spheres out of them. So try to plan that out if you can. This one I'm going to try to do 2. So we're just going to go in, sink it in as much as we can, come around the sides. And we've got, yeah, we're going to get 2 out of this. Beautiful. See that? We're going to repeat this with the other 2 potatoes, and then we're going to get them cooking. I've got a sous vide bag with about 20 grams of butter, and I've got 1.5 grams of salt. I'm going to take the dry potatoes, bag them up, and get them cooking. They're going to cook at 90 degrees Celsius for 30 minutes. All right, I've got those potatoes balled. Going to go into the sous vide bag. And then I'm just going to sprinkle that salt in there. And just kind of move it all around. So you can see we've got our potato spheres. Let's cook them. What we've got here is a leek, and I've taken off the outside, taken off the tops, taken off the root, and leeks are pretty dirty, so you want to wash them as best you can. This one I kind of just took a quick peek through because what I don't want to do is get it any more wet than I have to, because I'm going to put it on my control freak here at 475 degrees Fahrenheit, and my goal is to actually blacken this face. We'll see how much we can, but I think we're going to have a pretty decent result. So I'm going to go down face side first with both of these leek halves, and then I'm actually going to just put my a ton of weight from a chef press on here, which is basically just like a griddle press. And I'm going to cook these for a couple of minutes. Let's say about 3 minutes. We're going to cook these for 3 minutes, try to blacken the face. We'll see how good we do. All right, so the timer just went off. We're going to take our chef presses. Ooh, those are a little warm. Ooh. Off of the leeks. And let's see how we did here. Now it might be stuck. You want to be careful. Oh, that's perfect. Look at that. Look at that. That is blackened. That is excellent, and that's exactly what we want. And you see how it's starting to kind of curl up? If we didn't have the weight on it, oh, that one's perfect too. If we didn't have the weight on it, it would curl up, and we wouldn't get that consistent color. So I'm going to get these chilled down. These are not cooked. I'm going to get these chilled down, and then we're going to cook these at 90 degrees C for 10 minutes. Okay, so I've got our leeks here. They're cold now, and I'm just going to put a little bit of oil on them. Just a touch. Just a touch. I'm going to season them with salt, kind of, so I know how much to use. Okay. Got some fine salt. Now remember, these leeks aren't cooked. They're just blackened. Okay. The actual cooking part is going to take place sous vide. So just kind of brushing these with a little bit of oil with my finger all over. Going to season up these leeks. Fine salt. Okay. And now we're going to go into our sous vide bag. We're going to be sort of careful how we position them. One like this, and the other like this, so they're kind of matched. We don't want them to crush each other. Okay. And now I've got some neutral oil here. This is going to go into the bag, and that'll carry that charred flavor throughout the leek during the cooking process. We're going to cook these leeks at 90 C for 10 minutes and then ice bath them. All right, let's make the soup. So I've got 245 grams of potato scrap here. You can see it's got the holes in them. This is from making those potato spheres. I've got porcini stock. The mushrooms soaked up about 100 grams of liquid, so it went down to 130, and then I added 100 grams of filtered water back to it to bring it back to 230 grams, which was our starting weight. I've got 6 grams of salt here, and I've got 450 grams of heavy cream. So this is all going to just go into the bag. Going to go in with the salt. Going to go in with the porcini stock. Put this in our bowl for a second set of hands. And I'm going to go in with the cream. All right. And this is going to cook now at 90 degrees Celsius for 1 hour. There you have it. We're going to ice bath this, blend it cold, and it's going to be served cold. Let's do it. All right, so now we're going to do something fun. So we're going to do a dill pickle coulis, if you will. So I've got some dill that I've juiced, and I've also juiced some spinach. So how much? Well, it depends on how much dill you got. So I've got 240 grams of liquid in total. Also in this container is pickle juice. I'll explain. So I juiced the dill, and dill is not very juicy. So I had spinach as well, and spinach just really tastes like the color green when you juice it. And so I supplemented the dill juice with the spinach, and then I seasoned it to taste with dill pickle juice. And the reason I did that is it's got salt, it's got acidity, it has spices, it has garlic. And so I was going to add that anyway, and I said, well, I've got pickle juice, I'm going to use that. And so I have 240 grams of liquid total, and that's really all that's important. So juice some dill. If you need more, you can supplement with spinach. Take that and season it to taste with pickle brine, your favorite jarred pickle brine. And that is your number. So mine, I have 240 grams exactly of liquid here. Now I've got Ultratex 8 is my modified starch. Now there's Ultratex 3, 7, 8, and there's numbers, okay? And there's Ultratex and there's Ultrasperse. For a full video on all of that, Modernist Pantry has a super great video explaining the differences between Ultratex, Ultrasperse, and then the numbers. But the main difference between Ultratex and Ultrasperse is that Ultrasperse can be whisked into product cold. Ultratex takes a little bit of muscle, so that's why I've got my blender here. If I had Ultrasperse on hand, I'd be using that. And this is Ultratex 8. I forget the differences between the numbers. Again, check out the Modernist Pantry video if you want to know more about that. So the usage percentage for Ultratex 8 is between 1 and 5% depending on the end result that you're going for. So I'm going to start with 0.5% and just see how it reacts. Okay, so I have 240 grams of liquid. That means 1% is 2.4 grams of Ultratex 8. We're going to put our lid on and we're going to add half. I can tell that this is still too loose. This is not what I'm after, so I'm going to go in with another half a percent. It's starting to hold together. It doesn't like splash when I move the jug, but it's still loose. It's still watery. So we're going to go in with another full 1% and see what happens. We might be there. And this is what we're going for. So I am going to vacuum seal this to take out as many bubbles as I can. And then I'm going to put it in the fridge and we'll get back to it. Okay, we're almost there. So here I've got my garnish. This is the potatoes that we cooked sous vide. These were just with some butter and salt. And then we have our leeks that were seasoned just simply with salt and oil, but they were charred at 475 degrees Fahrenheit on the control freak. So let's get these garnishes out of their bags, and we're going to put them just onto a small tray here with a paper towel. So the potato, you can pretty much, they are tender, so just be smart about handling them. Don't go crazy. But it's okay if the butter is still on them because we're going to throw these in a 500-degree oven for plating. And so it's totally fine for them to have butter on it. It's actually probably better if they do have butter on them. With the leek, we're going to transfer this to the cutting board. We're going to put it face down. And then we're just going to cut on a bias We're going to be careful to not disrupt the layers. And now we're going to store these leeks on our tray here for reheating. And that is how your garnish tray should look. And these are all ready. So we'll probably do 2 potato balls and maybe like 3 leeks per bowl. But we'll just see how it looks when we go to plate it up. Maybe 2 and 2. Let's go ahead and recap what we've done. So we made a potato porcini vichyssoise. We did some charred leeks. We also have some butter poached potato spheres and some potato skin chips and a dill pickle coulis. So let's put it all together. I've got my garnish in the oven in a super convection at 450 degrees Fahrenheit, and I'm going to show you how we plate up this soup. It's pretty cool. Check it out. So this is a little bit of a sort of a modernist sort of a plating style, but I quite like the effect. So we're going to add some of our vichyssoise, which is cool, to this carafe. And then I've got my dill sauce, and then I'm going to go in with some of that. Now I'm going to go back in with the vichyssoise. And now I'm going to go back in with the dill, and you see, so we're layering. And I'm not squeezing it super hard. I'm actually putting it in there quite delicately. Let's go in with some more vichyssoise. I would actually choose, if I had something with a little bit of a wider, with a wider spout, I would probably go with that. Okay, and I can see my soup level. I'm in a good place. I'm going to keep this cool while the garnish roasts, and when the garnish comes out, we're going to plate it up. Garnish is out of the oven. Let's go ahead and get it plated up. As you can see, it's sizzling. I put just a touch of oil down before putting the potatoes and the leeks down. So I've got a little landing pad here of paper towel to give us somewhere to go. We're just going to blot these so they don't run. These cooked for 3 minutes, and as I said, you can see they're sizzling here, so we're plenty warm. And my soup is nice and cold. So in this case, I would instruct the diner, or have the service team instruct the diner to consume the soup relatively quickly, so they're able to enjoy the temperature contrast with the hot garnish and the cold soup. So let's plate this up. So we're gonna go potato spheres in here. I think I'm gonna do 2. It's gonna get pretty cluttered pretty quickly. This is a small bowl. So I'm going to go in with my leek. And then we're going to find sort of some nice potato crunches here. Sort of in a organic sort of a pattern. And now we're going to go in with the soup. Turn it here so I have some place nice to pour. Here we go. And you can see there's a little bit of striation between the dill sauce and the soup, which is really nice and just unexpected. So let's give it a taste. Yeah. That's fun. That's really fun. The garnish is warm. The garnish is hot. And the soup is cold, and you get that temperature contrast. And this is just a trio that plays super well together, right? We have mushroom, leek, potato, dill. What's not to like about that? Mushroom, leek, potato, dill. That's a quartet. But yeah, all these flavors are super friendly with each other. Got that temperature contrast. Lots of different texture between the leek, the potato, the soup, the garnish with the potato skins. I call that a winner. That's pretty darn good. Good job, Dave. Thank you so much for watching the session. I hope you guys make this. It's really not that difficult. Everything is actually quite easy, and there's not that many ingredients in total. So give it a try. Let me know what you think, whether you liked it, whether you didn't like it. We'll catch you in the next video.
That was amazing. If you thought that dish looked good, give Dave a little pat on the back so he doesn't have to be the only one giving himself a pat on the back. I thought that was amazing.